Well, tonight on our weekend interactive news segment, I'm the host, Timothy Bassi. I'm being joined by the Executive Director of Human Rights Network for Journalists in Uganda, Robert Sempala. Thanks for joining me, Robert.
You're welcome, Timothy.
Well, Robert, the whole issue is about the World Press Freedom Day that you are going to be celebrating as a media fraternity, joining the rest of the international community. But I would like to ask you, is there any reason for the media fraternity in Uganda to celebrate this day?
Yeah, we have very, very strong reasons to celebrate. Despite a number of challenges, we see a multiplicity of media houses. There seems to be growing room for media houses to crop up, and that alone is a very strong reason for us in the media industry to celebrate, because it creates competition, and healthy competition at that, which is very competitive, therefore to the benefit of the Ugandan community and even the journalists, those media practitioners, because they have a variety to choose from. That's a very strong reason to celebrate. Two, we see very increased advocacy around media rights and freedoms by a number of stakeholders, including civil society organizations that don't necessarily work within the media industry, but they're very concerned about the freedom of expression and freedom of the media. It's a very, very strong reason for us to celebrate, because we see the momentum gaining by the day. Today, once a problem happens to a single one journalist, all media houses seem very concerned, and you see them rising up to demand for accountability. That is what we always have longed to see, and it's really taking very good shape.
Well, the other issue that I would like also to engage you on, I do understand that you have the Parliamentary Forum on Media, which is meant to offer effective representation of media issues in the Ugandan Parliament. Do you have any issues with its composition?
Today, the forum is entirely composed of politicians, because it's a parliamentary forum. But we have the overall coordinator as a journalist. So this person is charged with making sure that this forum is very active, that members of parliament get to know about it and accordingly participate in it. In its current form, we may not say it is scoring 100%. There are glaring gaps that we see, but we're working towards bridging these gaps. But
do you mind sharing with us those glaring gaps that you're talking about?
I think many members of parliament really fear reprisals if they really came out and actively participated in this forum, because most of the former journalists in the House are not as active as the ordinary members of parliament. When you see its leadership, and sometimes when we have meetings with them, you see similar faces. Yet this is a forum that you would expect to bring on board politicians from all walks of life in that house, including those in the ruling party and those in the opposition and the independent ones.
Moving away from that issue, the issue of safety and security of journalists. What is the situation like?
That is the biggest challenge faced by the media, safety and security of journalists. One, we realize, according to a recent survey conducted by HRNG Uganda, that many journalists remain with very limited knowledge about safety and security concerns of themselves. And this stems from the very media houses, the newsrooms, deploying journalists without any regard to their safety and security to cover chaotic areas. Some don't even have protective gears, don't have press jackets, don't have identity cards, do not have what it takes for one to cover and remain in a very safer, point of view, rather than going in the crossfire. And that normally has been the source of attacks on the journalists.
Isn't that a worrying issue, that you are leading a blind fraternity that doesn't know their rights?
Yeah, and it is an issue, a very big issue, but it starts with identifying a gap. For us now, have at least taken an initiative to know the capacity needs of journalists, and that is one area where we need to assert ourselves most and devote a lot of resources.
I also want to engage you on the matter of the question regarding the working relationship between the police, or the working relationship between the security agencies and the media. How is it like?
We must say we're making strides. There was a time in 2013, that's 2013, when we released the Press Freedom Index report, and it had 85 cases out of 124 at the hands of the security agents, more so the police. This year around, that is 2014, which is our most recent Press Freedom Index report, we had 40 cases against police. There's a tremendous reduction by over 50%. So it means we're making strides by way of continuous dialoguing with the police, continuous education about the role, importance, and the workings of the media to the police, and even taking on these police officers at the individual level.
How is the question of impunity like here in Uganda? Because what we do see is that more especially journalists in Uganda want to associate impunity with only security agencies. What about on your side?
Impunity is a cancer. It's eating up the media industry. You have so many cases reported against security agents, against RDCs, against other key players like the communities, and none of these cases is picked up by the police to investigate, let alone go to court. So you have so many that perpetuate violations against the media practitioners, and they get away with it. So there's a time when Uganda was reviewed at the recent Universal Periodic Review mechanism, and Uganda undertook to do, among other things, investigate the over 180 cases that were pending against police officers. And the IGP opened up a human rights desk headed by Commissioner Simon Kutesa. It came to nothing. That time, the Parliament, the Human Rights Committee was opened up in Parliament with a view that it will handle such issues. But they're all providing a lot of lip service.
We would also want to get you on the question of the unity of media houses, because we see situations when you declare a blackout on a specific individual or an institution of government. Some media houses tend to go against the tide.
We must appreciate that many of the owners of media houses in this country are politicians, and most of them leaning to the ruling party. And most of these violations and attacks against the media practitioners are stemming from state agencies like police, army, and name them. So at some point they are faced with a conflict of interest. Some of them want to appease the powers that be, that is the chief executive of this country. So you have some sticking on to defending the media and say, yes, the blackout is going to be enforced within our newsrooms. Others say, what will happen to me? We had a case with one of the ministers running a broadcast media here in Uganda when the newsroom chose to really effect this blackout. And pressure was mounting all over. Even she was reported to the president that this person is a minister who sits with us here, but their particular media house is enforcing a blackout on government and the police for that matter. So you have such issues, but on the whole, we have seen many media houses support these initiatives. The only issue is maintaining this blackout for quite a long time, a long period of time, like 2 weeks or so, because many media houses, I must really say a fact here, do not invest so much into investigative journalism.
Remunerations, the welfare of practicing journalists in their respective media houses. We do understand that the situation in Uganda is so pathetic compared to other East African member states.
We have tried to engage our parent ministry, the Ministry of Information and National Guidance. We have tried to engage the UCC. We've tried to engage powers that be in this area, the licensing bodies. Many media houses continue to enjoy the licenses of running media houses, but those that are in charge of licensing these media houses have completely ignored playing their role of following up to see how are these licenses being operationalized. Because many media houses have made slaves. Their employees, many don't get paid for so long, who are in ginger on Wednesday when we had a dialogue. And one senior journalist, came out to confess that he'd been working for a single media house for 7 years, and of all that time, had been paid for only 7 months. And you wonder how this person can remain professional, and how this person can have loyalty to the media house rather than the field where they find a source of livelihood.
What are you doing about that? Are you trying also to say that you have failed to address the matter, like the licensing bodies have failed?
Yeah, certainly we have made inroads. One, by engaging the managements of various media houses, because we've had issues reported to us, issues of non-payment, issues of arbitrary dismissals from work, and that has always been the starting point for us to say, look, we have registered a number of cases against your media house, and this regard. And as key players, HRNG would not want to engage into confrontations with media houses that we strive so hard to promote. So it's been mutual engagements to make sure that these media houses wake up to their realities, to their obligations to the journalists. But where we have failed, we have referred matters to the labor offices.
Thanks for joining me on this Weekend Interactive News segment.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Until next time, thank you very much.